In the distant future of 2057, humanity faces a grave threat as the sun approaches its demise. Desperate to reignite the dying star, a team of 8 astronauts embarks on the spaceship Icarus-1, armed with a colossal stellar bomb. However, their mission takes an unexpected turn when communication with Earth is lost, leaving their fate unknown. Fast forward 7 years, Earth is plunged into a freezing solar winter, and a new crew of 8 is selected for the Icarus-2 to attempt the sun-saving mission once more. Among them is Searle, the ship's doctor and psychological officer, who becomes captivated by watching the sun. Eager to share this experience, Searle suggests the entire crew join him in the observation room, adjusting the panel to safely view the sun's brilliance. However, the rest of the team, including engineer James Mace, pilot Cassie, biologist Corazon, communications officer Harvey, Captain Kaneda, navigator Trey, and physicist Robert Kappa, are uninterested in Searle's proposal. As they journey towards the sun, Kaneda alerts the crew to unexpectedly high solar wind readings, indicating they are nearing the dead zone where communication with Earth will be lost. With this realization sinking in, Kaneda advises the crew to send their final messages home. Kappa, feeling the weight of the moment, records a heartfelt video for his family, expressing his hopes and uncertainties about their mission. However, his lengthy recording leaves no time for his crewmates to send their own messages. This sparks fury in Mace, who confronts Kappa, nearly escalating into a physical altercation before being separated by the others. Seeking to diffuse the tension, Mace confides in Searle, who recognizes the stress plaguing the crew. Searle suggests Mace spend time in the Earth Room, a chamber designed to simulate home, as a means of calming his frayed nerves. Amidst the crew's concerns and tensions, Kaneda remains immersed in the archived reports sent by Pinbacker, the former captain of Icarus-1. Despite Corazon's reassurance about the ample oxygen production in her garden, Kaneda is troubled, particularly when he hears Pinbacker describing ship damage as beautiful. Seeking a welcome distraction, the crew gathers in the observation room as they pass by Mercury, taking in the breathtaking sight. Later, during routine checks of the communication systems, Harvey stumbles upon a significant revelation. He detects a transmission playing the distress signal from Icarus-1. This unexpected signal reaches them due to the spaceship entering the dark side of Mercury, with the planet's iron content acting like an antenna. The crew gathers around as Icarus simulates the trajectory of the first ship on the screen, realizing that the distress signal had gone unnoticed until now, hidden in the background light and noise. Surprisingly, the Icarus-1 had managed to get remarkably close to the sun. A debate ensues among the crew about whether adjusting their trajectory to make contact with Icarus-1 is a prudent move. Mace argues against it, emphasizing the paramount importance of the mission and the catastrophic consequences if they fail to deliver the payload. On the contrary, there's a compelling argument for potential survivors on the Icarus-1, along with extra resources, including oxygen, food, and a crucial additional bomb that could enhance their chances of reigniting the sun. With the crew at an impasse, they turn to Kappa, relying on his physics expertise to guide the decision. After crunching the numbers with Icarus, Kappa concludes that the potential benefits of the extra bomb outweigh the risks. He gives the directive to fly towards Icarus-1. As the ship leaves Mercury's orbit, Trey, responsible for adjusting the trajectory, overlooks a critical detail. He forgets to realign the shields safeguarding the ship from the sun, resulting in damage to 4 panels. If left unaddressed, this damage could prove catastrophic, jeopardizing the entire mission and the lives of the crew. Kaneda and Kappa head out into space to fix the damaged shield, guided by Cassie from inside the ship. They move the broken part away from the sun, which accidentally destroys 2 useless communication towers. But this redirects light that sets fire to the ship's oxygen garden, upsetting Corazon, who has to release oxygen to put out the fire. Now, they have to adjust the shield again, but doing so could kill Kappa and Kaneda, who are still working on repairs. Harvey and Cassie want to wait, but Mace insists that protecting the payload is most important, a view shared by Kaneda. As the ship's autopilot adjusts its rotation, Kaneda tells Kappa to go back inside. He stays behind to fix the last panel, sacrificing himself to save the mission. Shortly after, Searle administers sedatives to Trey, who is overwhelmed with guilt, leaving him in a catatonic state to prevent self-harm. With Harvey now assuming the role of captain as the second in command, he addresses the crew about the critical oxygen situation following the garden incident. There's not enough to reach their destination, let alone survive the journey, so their only option is to make contact with Icarus-1 and hope for salvaged resources. As the crew disperses to attend to their duties, Mace, Corazon, and Cassie convene privately. Corazon reveals that their current oxygen reserves could sustain them if they lose 3 crew members. Later, in a candid conversation, Cassie confides in Kappa about her fear of death, while he admits to feeling differently. Finally, Icarus-2 successfully docks with Icarus-1, and Kappa, Searle, Mace, and Harvey venture aboard to explore the derelict ship. Despite the eerie absence of functioning lights and the pervasive dust, likely human skin, they opt to split up to search more efficiently. Harvey discovers a flourishing garden with 7 years of uncontrolled growth, bringing joy to Corazon. Trey confirms the second bomb is working, and Searle checks and finds plenty of water and food. Mace, examining the systems, sees that everything is good, except the flight computer isn't responding. Digging deeper, he finds a recording from Pinbacker, his face burned, saying they abandoned the mission because they shouldn't defy God. This message is from 6.5 years ago, the exact time they were supposed to deliver the payload. Mace keeps searching and learns the mainframe has been intentionally damaged, meaning they can't use the Icarus One. This makes their detour completely pointless. In the observation room, Searle makes a grim discovery. The entire crew has perished, their bodies reduced to ashes by the relentless intensity of the sun. Abruptly, the 2 spacecraft explosively detach, causing the destruction of Icarus One's outer airlock and leaving the 4 men stranded as Icarus Second drifts away. Amidst the chaos, a single usable suit is found. After some debate, Mace and Searle decide to prioritize Kappa, given his unique knowledge of operating the payload. Harvey, the captain, protests, asserting his claim to priority, but his objections are disregarded. With only 1 suit available, Mace proposes an alternative plan to save the remaining trio. Utilizing insulation material stripped from the ship's walls, they aim to shield themselves against the cold, while leaping between the 2 ships. However, a crucial hurdle emerges. Since the computer is no longer functional, someone must remain behind to manually open the hatch. Searle selflessly volunteers to sacrifice himself, ensuring the others can attempt the daring leap to Icarus Second. As Cassie aligns both airlocks, Searle initiates the release, and the 3 men utilize the vacuum for propulsion, holding onto each other as they attempt to jump between ships. However, a collision with the ship forces them to let go, resulting in only Kappa successfully reaching the other airlock. Mace manages to cling to a handrail, allowing Kappa to pull him inside, but Harvey drifts away into the cold abyss, succumbing to asphyxiation. Back on Icarus One, Searle resigns to his fate, joining the bodies in the observation room to be consumed by the sun, while Cassie bids her farewells through the communication system. Mace meticulously examines the activity log, ruling out Icarus's automatic disconnection and any mechanical malfunction. The conclusion is unsettling. Someone manually severed the airlocks, with the men aboard Icarus One and the women on Icarus Second. Suspicion falls upon Trey as the sole remaining suspect. Kappa expresses skepticism regarding Trey's capability to manipulate the airlocks due to his heavily sedated state, casting doubt on the suspicion. Corazon notes the loss of 2 crew members, leaving only 1 more necessary for the mission's survival, prompting Mace to reluctantly volunteer to end Trey's life. Despite recognizing the madness of the situation, Kappa and Corazon agree to prioritize the mission's imperative for humanity's future. Cassie, however, dissents, though her objection holds little sway as the majority prevails. Leaving the rest of the crew behind, Mace proceeds to the infirmary with an electric scalpel in hand. Upon arrival, he discovers Trey's absence from his bed. Instead, Trey is found in the Earth room, lifeless, having taken his own life by cutting his wrists. Summoning the crew to witness the grim discovery, Mace lays blame on Kappa for the deaths, attributing the spilled blood to his decision to divert the mission. Enraged, Kappa confronts Mace, resulting in a brief altercation that abruptly ends as they struggle to breathe due to the dwindling air supply. While conducting checks on the payload, Kappa instructs Icarus to analyze the crew's biometrics and oxygen consumption. To his shock, Icarus delivers a grim prognosis. The oxygen supply is insufficient, and all crew members will perish before completing the mission. Confused by the discrepancy, Kappa questions the assessment, only for Icarus to reveal the presence of a 5th, unidentified individual on board, currently located in the observation room. Hastening to the observation room, Kappa is met with blinding sunlight emanating from the viewing panel. Standing before it is a deranged and disfigured Pinbacker, who incessantly rambles about God, angels, humanity, and stardust. It becomes apparent that Pinbacker was the one responsible for disconnecting the airlocks. Without warning, Pinbacker attacks Kappa, inflicting a stomach wound with an electric scalpel before fleeing. Kappa, desperate to escape, rushes to the airlock and manages to seal the hatch behind him. However, Pinbacker seizes the opportunity to manually lock the door, trapping Kappa inside. Proceeding to the coolant tank, Pinbacker removes the panels, causing Icarus to shut down. As Corazon surveys the remnants of her scorched garden, she spots a tiny sprout amidst the devastation, a symbol of resilience amidst despair. Intent on sharing this glimmer of hope with the crew, she is confronted by Pinbacker, who ruthlessly ends her life with a stab of the scalpel. Meanwhile, inside the airlock, Kappa improvises a makeshift bandage from a suit's vest to staunch his bleeding wound. As the ship's power abruptly fails, leaving the entire vessel in darkness, Cassie awakens to the unsettling absence of light and ventures out with a flashlight, only to encounter Pinbacker. In the control room, Mace resorts to activating the computer with an emergency battery, but Icarus remains unresponsive. Upon observing Kappa on the security cameras, Mace instructs him to utilize the communicator on his suit helmet, enabling Kappa to relay vital information about Pinbacker and his acts of sabotage. Upon hearing the situation, Mace swiftly dashes to the coolant tank and immerses himself in the icy water to reinstall the missing panels, successfully restoring power just before Pinbacker confronts Cassie in the Earth room. In a stroke of luck for Cassie, Pinbacker's confusion leads him to grab Trey instead of her. Seizing the scalpel Trey used, Cassie defends herself by stabbing Pinbacker before fleeing to seek refuge in the room containing the bomb. As Mace's body succumbs to the numbing cold, trapped by his leg in the coolant tank, he manages to reach Kappa via communication to relay their orbital status. However, with uncertainty looming over the malfunctioning computer, Mace acknowledges the grim reality. He may have to manually separate the payload from the ship and detonate it. With his final breath, Mace implores Kappa to carry on with the mission, leaving humanity's fate in Kappa's hands. Determined to take action, Kappa dons his astronaut suit and utilizes a torch to create an opening in the door leading to the hallway. With careful precision, he manipulates the emergency button, securing himself to the wall before triggering the main hatch's expulsion. The force of the pressure, coupled with the weakened metal, results in the hallway door blowing open, granting Kappa re-entry into the ship. Upon discovering Mace's frozen form, Kappa proceeds to the control room and initiates the separation procedure. Swiftly, he leaps out of the ship and into the detached bomb room, just as Icarus II succumbs to the sun's inferno. Inside the bomb, Kappa sheds his suit and approaches Cassie, who sits with a vacant expression. Before they can exchange words, Pinbacker launches a vicious assault, seizing Kappa by the throat and edging him towards the abyss, all the while extolling the sun as his god. Awakening from her trance, Cassie rushes to Kappa's aid, together wrenching free from Pinbacker's grasp by tearing the skin from his arm. As the bomb hurtles towards the sun, amidst the chaotic turbulence, Cassie urges Kappa to fulfill their mission. Ignoring Pinbacker's taunts, Kappa focuses solely on the task at hand, hastening to the controls and activating the payload. Witnessing the sun's rekindling, Kappa reaches out before succumbing to the cosmic embrace. Back on Earth, Kappa's sister revisits his message, finding solace as she leads her children to witness the sunrise, a spectacle unseen for years, heralding a new dawn. With this movie comes to an end. Thanks for tuning in, guys.